If your shoulder hurts when you're reaching overhead, it's easy to assume there's some kind of damage to the actual shoulder. In reality, reaching overhead is a pretty complex movement that requires shoulder mobility, thoracic mobility, shoulder blade control and movement, and strength and control of the actual shoulder itself. If any one of those has some kind of impairment or dysfunction, it can lead to pain in the shoulder even without any actual injury to the shoulder itself. The first thing to think about is the obvious, which is shoulder mobility. If it's just something as simple as the muscles or the capsule or the ligaments itself in the shoulder are stiff, then it's worth just stretching it. There are plenty of easy ways to stretch the shoulder. If you're wanting to start simple, you can just lay on your back, grab some kind of stick or cane or dowel or something, and just work on stretching it overhead. Holding onto the stick allows you to let the other arm help the movement a little bit and gives you just a little more control, just going to the point where you feel a little bit of a stretch. You hang out there for 5-10 seconds, try to relax, and then come back down. If you don't have a stick or a dowel, then just use your other hand. Clasp the fingers together, allowing the good shoulder to control most of the movement. Go till you feel a stretch, with the goal of over time trying to get a little further back all the way overhead. Next, you could increase the difficulty or intensity of this by sliding the arm up the wall. The goal is not to aggressively stretch it, it's just to work in a comfortable range and then gradually build it over time. As this gets easier and the shoulder loosens up, you can lean into that stretch a little more to add a little more pressure to the movement itself. But the shoulder does not move by itself. The next thing to consider is how well your shoulder blades are moving. In order to reach overhead, your shoulder blade has to be able to upwardly rotate on the rib cage to allow that movement to happen. If the shoulder blade is not moving, the humerus, this bone right here, is going to hit a bony block or an impinged position to where we can't get overhead because that shoulder blade is stopping it and not moving with the shoulder itself. A really easy place to start with shoulder blade mobility is just seeing what it feels like for your shoulder blades to actually move. You can start just by doing simple shoulder rolls, going both directions, like you're making a circle with your shoulders. You can switch ways just like that, doing it 10 or 20 times just to see this is a sensation I'm looking for. This is what it feels like when that shoulder blade glides over the rib cage. Step up from that is going to be what we call shoulder protraction. So you can get on hands and knees, start with a flat back, and then keeping the arm straight, pressing up and feeling those shoulder blades spread apart. You should feel that space between the shoulder blades and the muscles in the mid-back stretching out a little bit as you do this. Then to get more specific into the actual movement, that upward rotation of the shoulder blade with reaching overhead, you can do very similar to exercise to what we did before when working on shoulder stiffness, just adding a little tweak to it. You can put both arms on the wall here. You're going to press and feel those shoulder blades come apart just like we did on the table a second ago. Try to keep them apart and slide up the wall, feeling those shoulder blades upwardly rotate as much as you can. The next thing to consider is thoracic mobility. The thoracic spine is your upper back, which is a pivotal part of reaching overhead. An interesting test you can do. Think about standing with what we would consider bad posture, like a forward hunched posture like this, and try to pick your arms up as high as you can. Then from there, correct that posture, stand up tall, and feel how much further your shoulders go back. For a lot of people, it's not so much what's happening at the shoulder themselves, it's just we are constantly in this rounded position where the thoracic spine gets stiffed and forward flexed. If we can extend, open up the chest, open up that thoracic spine, all of a sudden we have this new range of motion to work with. So to work on this, we can start with a simple cat-cow exercise where you're on hands and knees, you're rounding and arching the back, working on that thoracic extension, allowing that mid-back to move as much as you can. If you want to go even simpler, you can sit in a chair that has a low back that doesn't go above your shoulder blades and just lean back, feeling that extension happen in the upper back. The thoracic spine also has to be able to rotate, which is going to be important for that extension movement. So doing something like an open book against the wall or laying on the floor or a table is also great for that area. Finally, we're going to work on strength and control. If there's any kind of weakness in the shoulder, the body can perceive that as danger or stress or pain, and it can send pain signals whenever the shoulder's in a stress position, even when there's no actual injury itself. So find the areas of weakness in the shoulder and strengthen them. It doesn't have to be very complicated. I could spend an entire video giving you other exercises you can do for your shoulder, but you can keep it pretty simple. Start with some external rotation like this. Then you can work on some elevation activities to start to progress towards reaching up and out. Over time, the exercise should start to look more like the activity you're actually trying to work on. A bent over Y like this is great for working on shoulder strength. It's going to stretch the shoulder, and it's even going to get that thoracic spine and scapular mobility that we're looking for. There's no magic set of exercise for strengthening the shoulder. Just find the weakness, gradually build, and slowly progress to the actual activity you're working on. Which brings me to my last point of reinforcing the movement. If the goal is to reach overhead, the final step of this process should involve strengthening your shoulder in an overhead position. This could look like a simple overhead press, adding weight to your bent over Ys, or just doing an isometric hold in the overhead position to work on that strength and stability. If you take an approach that is going to focus on building the whole system, eventually the shoulder will respond. It takes patience, it takes consistency, and it takes smart, gradual progressions, but eventually you will get there. So what other positions or movements or activities tend to give you trouble or pain? Leave a comment below and maybe I'll make a video about it next time. Visit activeindependentrehab.com for full self-guided rehab plans and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. Let's get moving.